Hello fight fans, Seattle Mike of MMA with Friends. Everybody please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you love everything fighting, and make sure you ring that bell so you're notified whenever I drop a new video or go live, like this Saturday for John Jones versus Dominic Reyes for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. First things first, Colby Covington. What's going on, man? What's going on? I called your fight. I did a fight cast on this. I thought I called it pretty fair, brother. I've not been a big Colby Covington fan, and yeah, I've said my piece in the past, but I feel like I've covered him as fair as everyone. And he came out recently, you know, on the Ariel Helwani show, was kissing Ariel Helwani's butt, going after 50 Cent, challenge him to a celebrity boxing match with a hand behind his back. I mean, talking all this trash after that about YouTube media, about YouTube guys and independent media saying, you know, we're guys in our mother's basement covering him unfairly, and it's the godlike characters of Ariel Helwani and Stephen A. Smith and ESPN. When did this guy become so establishment friendly? Supposedly, you know, he's this Trump guy. No supposedly about that. He's this big Trump MAGA guy, and supposedly that's about the country and the fans and non-establishment. And he's supposed to be about non-establishment, and here he goes tying himself to all the establishment, kissing up to Ariel Helwani, kissing up to Stephen A. Smith. I called your fight, I thought, very fairly. If you go back, you can watch that fight companion. And I said that he was winning up to that point. I believe I had him winning 3 of the first 4 rounds, if not 4. I called the same thing. I said when the liver kick, when he hit Kamaru Usman with the liver kick, I said I did not see a low blow. I said the same thing as him. You go back and you see it, and it was a liver kick. Wasn't a low blow, and I've also been critical of Mark Goddard in the past. Now, I'm not going to come out and apologize to Colby Covington. For one, I didn't do a damn thing. For another, I'm not going to become this big Colby Covington fan out of nowhere. Yeah, I said he was tough. I said he was tough. You know, he took a big shot. He took some big shots against Kamaru Usman. Both those guys were tough. That was a battle. That was a war, and I think we all want to see a second one. Even Kamaru Usman gave Colby Covington credit, said he wanted to see another war. And I know Colby Covington, he's kind of got it, feels like he's got to toe this line, he's got to play this character. But why are you going after independent journalists? Why are you going after the little guy? You're supposed to be the people's champion. You call yourself the people's champion, directly attacking the people, directly tying yourself to the establishment. Think about when you were an amateur MMA guy. Nobody gave you cred. Think about when the UFC was about to cut you before you went on TV and at press conferences talking all this trash about Damian Maia in front of the Brazilian crowd. I know you got to toe a line, but why do you have to go attacking YouTube creators? By the way, shout out to YouTube creators. Full-time MMA, trending, you know, he's got about 3,000 more subscribers than we do, 2,500, somewhere in there. MMA holes, that guy's absolutely lighting it up, even though maybe it's a little bit different of a show. You cannot argue with that guy's success. And then these up-and-comers, Mind for Combat, Boxing 365, MMA. The Weasel, that's a guy that's quite a bit bigger. Man, he makes some professional videos for sure. And then good friends of mine, Mind for Combat, shout out to that guy. That guy does some of the greatest breakdowns out there. And then Mo of Mo Scream TV, I believe he's changing his name recently, but you guys didn't see Mo. Nobody matches that guy's intensity. He's got a great mind for fighting, and he practices. He practices fighting. Mind for Combat's got a great mind. Full-time MMA. great mind over there. And I have not seen any of those guys cover you unfairly. I have not seen anybody throw you under the bus, say that you took nut shots when you didn't. You know, Mark Goddard, I've had my issues with him myself. Friend of the show, Sam Alvey, you know, one of my favorite fighters out there. You know, he said he would never fight again with Mark Goddard as a referee. And after watching the results and some of the calls that guy made in some of his fights, very controversial, I can't blame him. I can't blame him, and I'm not going to go out there and say I could do a better job than Mark Goddard. This video is not about criticizing Mark Goddard, but he has not been without his criticism. And it's a tough job. I think he's made some good calls. He's made some bad calls. Just like all referees, I don't think he's the worst out there. I don't think he's the best out there. I think it's a very, very, very tough job. And sometimes I think he's made some questionable calls. Some calls that would make me question, you know, if he has an interest in who wins or who loses certain fights. And I'll leave it at that because I don't have actual evidence to that. I just have conversations that I've had with fighters, both in public on here and in private. And I don't want to share everything that was said to me. But, you know, I have reason to believe that maybe he skews certain way for certain fighters. But that's neither here nor there. Colby Covington, I want to invite you on the show, man. Come on an independent MMA show, a guy that's been involved in MMA since he was in high school. You know, I grew up watching Bruce Lee and boxing and UFC from the very get-go. This is ground floor, hardcore, independent MMA journalism. I criticize Dana White. I'll praise him when I feel he deserves it. No one is beyond praise or criticism. I call it how I see it. So Colby Covington, if anything, you owe me an apology. But you can come on the show anytime. Let's have a chat about that, and maybe we can straighten this thing out. But for now, I think you need to take that back. I've never said anything I believe unfair about you. Definitely never called you out, said that you were winning the fight. So I think that what you said in that interview with Ariel Helwani was absolutely uncalled for, and maybe you need to check yourself and get back to your roots. For the real fight fans out there, guys, as always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.